if I have any scalar which is a function of xyz, dt can be written as gradient of t dot dl. By this definition, we got one idea where mod dl is always constant. We got one idea. Mod dl, so dl vector is nothing but displacement vector, infinitely small displacement vector. When you displace along the direction of this vector, we call that one as gradient of a scalar. We got change in t is maximum. So that's why gradient points in the direction of maximum change in t. Okay. So in space, from one point to other point, I mean, if you are moving, if you are displacing from any one point, so so change in that parameter will be maximum in one particular direction. So that is the direction of gradient, isn't it? So then we got one more idea. So that gradient, magnitude of the gradient is, so maximum rate of change of scalar t with respect to displacement, isn't it? So those two were the idea about gradient. After that, we discussed divergence, am I right? We treated del as an operator, am I right? X cap dou by dou x plus y cap dou by dou y plus z cap dou by dou z, am I right? So then we define divergence of a vector field. Divergence of a vector field, it measures how much a vector field diverges, am I right? If I say like that, that's not sufficient. Look at here. We had a gradient, a different quantity. So we found both magnitude and direction, am I right? So now once you write this one, again, one physical interpretation is, yeah, it is a measure of how much that vector field diverges, isn't it? For a constant vector field, it will be 0, isn't it? So now, not only that, it's a volume density of outward flux, isn't it? It's a density, it's a point variable, it depends on the point in a space. It's a volume density of outward flux at any point in a space. So that's equal to, I think, dou Vx by dou x plus dou Vy by dou y plus dou Vz by dou z. Am I right? Wait a second. How did we define gradient of a scalar? X cap dou t by dou x plus y cap dou t by dou y plus z cap dou t by dou z. I hope you remember. So del t dot n cap is a directional derivative, isn't it? So that's a derivative corresponds to one particular direction, n cap direction, isn't it? This is a directional derivative. Don't forget that aspect. Okay. Let me upload some question on that one. Okay. I forgot yesterday. In Griffiths, he skipped some part of the question. Okay. Some vector calculus questions, because those questions were never needed in the theory. Okay. So that's why he skipped one part of the question, that is finding directional derivative, finding normal to the surface, like that. Okay. Some physical interpretation, he skipped that one because those were not much needed in the further chapters. Okay. So but we have to take that one. So for our exam point of view, let me take it later. Okay. Directional derivative, this is called as directional derivative. So again, you can roughly write it as dou t by dou n, am I right? That's better. Dou t by dou n. Suppose if you have del t dot x cap, then what you have to write? Dou t by dou x. Similarly, if you have dou t by r cap, what you have to write? So now try to apply this one to yesterday's problem. Yesterday's problem, you will get that one. Okay. Now, so similarly, divergence is a measure of how much the vector field diverges. So maybe, divergence have got different situation, am I right? Suppose vector field is equal to some constant into z cap, its divergence was 0, am I right? So del dot v was 0, isn't it? Constant vector field will not diverge, isn't it? Suppose vector field is equal to some z into z cap, now it will have divergence, isn't it? So del dot v is equal to 1, like that. Okay, you should be able to understand that one. It need not be diverging kind of thing, isn't it? These lines are parallel. All vector lines are along the same direction, Okay, so but still it has a divergence. That means strength of the vector field is increasing when you move along z axis. Am I right? So it magnitude depend on the z. Similarly, so v is equal to r vector. That's also have got divergence. Am I right? Divergence was 3. Del dot v, it was 3. Isn't it? Now, have you solved those problems? In problem number 11, 1.11, he asked to find gradient. I hope that would be not a big deal. Okay, finding the gradient of each of these functions. So we shall do this problem number 1.12. So 12. So problem number 12. 1.12. H of x comma y is equal to 10 2xy, 10 into 2xy minus 3x square, 4y square minus 18x plus 28y minus 18x plus 28y plus 12 is equal to plus 12. Am I right? Plus 12. Height, obviously, it's a function of x and y. Am I right? At different point, our hill have got different height. Now, so what is the question? Part A of the question. Where is the top of the hill located? How do you write? Where is the top of the hill located? Again, I think you haven't read that one, these comments. He said that one. Gradient equal to 0 at the top of the hill. At the maximum, gradient will be 0 usually. It's a kind of, again, our derivative equal to 0. So can you just write the comment note? You better take this one, because so I haven't interpreted this one. Del t is equal to 0 at some point. 0 means null vector, okay? At some point is equivalent to dt is equal to 0 for small displacement around that point. Am I right? Can I say like that? Because dt is written as del t dot df, isn't it? When that would happen? At maxima or at minima that would happen usually. Is that okay? So again, or you can just write, look at here, dt by dl vector, mod dl vector, that's equal to del t cos theta. Am I right? If del t equal to 0, a change in dt by dl is 0. The same sentence. Am I right? For a small displacement, dt equal to 0 means dt by dl equal to 0. When there is a change in dl, dt equal to 0. When the del t equal to 0, at the point where del t equal to 0, at the point where gradient equal to 0. So there is either a point of maxima or point of minima, isn't it? So our derivative vanishes at point of maxima or minima. Now the situation is you can displace in any direction. In single variable calculus, we have only two ways. Am I right? So now from the top of the hill, you can displace in any direction. So that's why this dl vector can point in any direction at the top of the hill. You can displace in any direction. So change in dt is equal to 0. So since del t is equal to 0. Okay. So now the next one is, yeah, so that's why So delta, so that is equivalent to, so you better write one sentence. The points at which del t is equal to 0 are called as stationary point. Are called as stationary points, either maxima, minima, or saddle point. Right? Either maxima or minima or saddle point. Maxima, minima, or saddle point. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, again, yeah, we shall try to solve this. At the maxima, minima, or saddle point, when you displace in any direction, usually change in that quantity is almost 0. Is that okay? So that's why the derivative, we say the derivative is 0. Is that okay? So now look at here. Again, what is that one? First idea. So del of h, that should be equal to 0. Am I right? This will give two conditions. Why? That's a vector. Vector is 0 only when its components are 0. And you will have two equations, two unknown, obviously, x and y, isn't it? So have you found that one? Yeah. So what is this one? X cap into dou h by dou x plus y cap into dou h by dou y is equal to 0. I need to find the point where gradient vanishes, okay? So that is the topmost point. So if you take a hill, there is no minima actually, only topmost point, okay? You don't have to think about whether it is topmost point or I mean maxima or minima, okay? So now look at here, dou h by dou x should be 0 and dou h by dou y should be 0. A vector is 0 means its components are 0, isn't it? So now you got two equations, two unknown. You can find x equal to something. So let me say x naught, y naught is equal to something, am I right? So you found that one. What are the values? X equal to -2, 3. So now the next part of the question is, how high the hill? We substitute. Now I got one problem. If you put x equal to 0, y equal to 0, what would you get? No, you will get some height, am I right? Obviously. So, yeah, that's not the point. That's correct. You have to put x naught and y naught, am I right? So, hill is like this now. I mean, it need not be centered at the origin, okay? So, somewhere else. So, hill is like this, x cap, y cap, z cap, isn't it? So, now if you put x naught and y naught, you will get, I think, the location of that one, h of x naught and y naught. Yeah, speak up. 11, 720 meter feet, 720 feet, 720 feet. Now, he asks one more question. How steep is the slope at the point 1 mile north and 1 mile east of south? 1 mile north, 1 mile east. He is talking about x and y points, but he is writing in mile. You are saying in feet. What would you do? No, the x and y are in miles. This should be mile, isn't it? X and y are in miles. So just check it out, the question. Miles. Is that okay? Everything should be in miles. Yeah. You substituted this one, am I right? Now, why would you worry? No, don't. Yeah, you have solution manual. Can you just open? Just cross check that one. Yeah, why would you worry? He has given in miles. Am I right? So now look at here. Which one you are going to take north? Look at here. He has written in the question itself, y distance north, x distance is east of south Hadley. And he has given you have to find the magnitude of the gradient at that point of x and y, isn't it? Read the question carefully. Read the question carefully. In the question, he said y is the distance north, x is the distance east of south. One is, both are perpendicular, am I right? So both are perpendicular. How steep the slope at point 1 mile north and 1 mile east? That means x equal to 1 mile, y equal to 1 mile, y equal to 1 mile. You have to find gradient of t, mod of gradient of t at 1, 1. Isn't it? Feet. Answer is in feet, but question is in miles. Look at that one. Huh? Feet per mile. What do you mean by feet per mile? Okay, hills in feet. X and y distance in miles. Then it makes no sense. Yeah. Speak out. Height in you have to convert. That's what he is expecting. No, then no. He is saying in the next part, y is the distance in miles. If y is the distance in miles, how height will be in feet? Wait a second. Y is the distance in mile, but in your equation you have both x and y. Am I right? Both are distance. Am I right? X and y both are distance. Why he put that confusion? Wait a second. So I have one more point here. Part C of the question. Look at the part C of the question. Okay, just forget. So just take everything in feet or miles, whatever. Okay. So maybe so we may not able to understand him. Okay. So maybe he is right because he has given only x in miles. He hasn't given what is y, isn't it? X and y are in miles. Then how height will be in feet? Isn't it? You in your equation you have y, x, these linear terms. Am I right? Feet per mile. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. He is measuring. So this one in feet. These two are in miles. That's correct. Is that okay? X and y are in miles, measuring height in feet. So, yeah, then that's correct. Because all three are different axes. Am I right? That's your choice. And again, our convenience also, isn't it? This is now miles or feet. I mean, you can just do and you can substitute now. Is that okay? You can just do and you can substitute. All three are independent variable, h, x, y, isn't it? H you are going to draw along z-axis, isn't it? You can call it, I mean, whatever you put. So, take x and y in miles, h is in feet only. That's how it is designed. The equation is designed. Is that okay? No need to worry. Okay? X and y in miles, height is in feet. Okay? That's correct. So, 720, if you substitute these two in miles, you'll get 720 feet. That's correct. But I have one more question. He said find gradient of t at 1, 1. Am I right? Or no, he hasn't said gradient of t. What he said, look at that one. How steep the slope, isn't it? That means he is asking, I mean, at 1, 1, you got various direction. In different direction, you have different slope, isn't it? Are you getting my point? Part C of the question. See that one carefully. How steep the slope at 1, 1? Now my question is, in what direction you are asking the slope? Are you getting my point? Because it's more than one dimension now, isn't it? That's why if you talk about slope of the hill, am I right? So from any point, you got different choice of moving, am I right? You can move like this, you can move like this, you can move like this, isn't it? At different direction, you will have a different slope that he didn't mention. What he has taken in answer? Okay. No, that's okay. That's a gradient direction, isn't it? At any point, from any point, in the gradient direction, slope will be steepest. Because in that direction, so change in that height is the maximum one, am I right? Height, isn't it? In that direction, change in the height is the maximum. That's okay. You can take the gradient, you can make it as a unit vector. I mean, you have to make it as a unit vector, okay? So don't keep that vector as it is, because when you are talking only about direction, make it as a unit vector, okay? Don't keep its magnitude other than unity. So now, but the first part of the question is, how steep the slope at 1, 1? Yeah, what he has done? Northwest. He has taken direction. He has taken directional derivative. Directional derivative. In which direction? X cap plus y cap by root 2. X cap plus y cap by root 2. X and y value. No, so he has taken directional derivative with x cap plus y cap by root 2. No, that's, I don't take this one. Why? He has calculated magnitude of this one. But magnitude of this one is the maximum rate of change. Am I right? Are you getting my point? So from this one, if you want to, if you are asking about the derivative, if you are asking about the slope, isn't it? In which direction you are talking about the slope? Isn't it? In the different direction, you have different slope. So next part is okay. What is the next part? In which direction the slope is steepest or slope is maximum? So in the direction of the gradient, slope is maximum. Is that okay? So find the gradient at that point. So find the gradient at that point, make it as a unit vector. That is the direction where the slope is steepest. Okay, the question should be modified. Part C of the question, you better to say what is the maximum, what is the slope in the maximum steepest direction, like that. Okay, what is the maximum change in the what you call, not like that. What is the maximum slope? That's enough. Am I right? So what is the maximum slope at this point? So modulus of gradient, that's the maximum rate of change, isn't it? That's the maximum slope. Okay, and if you make a unit vector out of that one, that would be what you call, yeah, what you call direction in the maximum change. Okay, be careful. Be careful. At any point, if you are talking about slope, now it's more than single variable, you have to talk about the direction. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah, what was this answer actually? No, I mean not mod. Let me so give me del h at 1 comma 1. I mean vector. I need vector. 221. So 220 into minus x cap plus y cap. Isn't it? Minus x cap means x was distance in north. Minus x means its distance in south. Am I right? If you make it unit vector, by root 2 will come obviously. Isn't it? What's a unit vector along this direction? So that's a minus x cap plus y cap divided by root 2. Isn't it? So now obviously this the direction. Suppose if you just plot x and y axis. Suppose if you plot x axis, y axis. So what is this direction? Minus x. This direction. He said this is north. This is South Hadley. So why he put that word Hadley? Okay. South. No, that's not. Okay. This is north. Then this is east. X is east. Yeah. X is east of south. He said like that. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Then so obviously your unit vector is along this direction. Am I right? Then that is north, northwest. That's the answer. Northwest. Am I right? If this is the east, this is the west. That is northwest. That's how you have to judge. Is that okay? Yeah. Try to do the whole problem again. So now let me quickly just explain how to solve next problem. Okay. Try it yourself. So del of italic r square. What is your italic r? Or italic r magnitude, x minus x prime root of. What is italic r? I hope you know that idea. Origin r prime, r vector. So from source to field point, that's your italic r. Am I right? X comma y comma z, x prime comma y prime comma z prime. Is that okay? So now italic r is equal to root of x minus x prime the whole square plus y minus y prime the whole square plus z minus z prime the whole square. Now look at here. If I write it like this, so del of r square, obviously r square is just take off the root, that's it, isn't it? Now I haven't mentioned any prime here. That's why you have to take derivative with respect to unprimed one. That means, so my del operator, so that's equal to x cap dou by dou x plus y cap dou by dou y plus z cap dou by dou z. So later in the polarizations chapter, we are going to define this one. Then that is dou by dou x dash, dou by dou y dash, dou by dou z dash. Okay. But here, so he didn't mention any prime here. Okay. Don't take unnecessarily or don't get into the confusion that in which with respect to what you have to take derivative. Am I right? You have two variables, isn't it? So in this case, x, y, z are variable. Treat them x, y, z are variable and just do that. Is that okay? Obviously, you will get similar result as earlier. Do all of those three problems. Is it clear? So del r square is x cap into dou by dou x of r square plus y cap into dou by dou x of r square plus z cap into dou by dou x of r square. Now, dou by, but what did I said? Dou by dou z. Now, so similarly, after doing all of this, so do this one, del prime of r square. So do all of those del prime. So that will come in the later chapter. Is that okay? Del prime of r square. That means derivative with respect to x prime. You may get one more negative sign because you get here while taking the derivative. Okay? You may get one more negative sign. Do that one also. Okay? So del means unprimed, derivative with respect to unprimed coordinate. Del prime means derivative with respect to primed coordinate. Just remember like that. Okay? So those are very different. Okay? One is a source point, isn't it? This is your source point. Taking derivative with respect to source point is different. Taking derivative with respect to, this is the field point. This is the field point. This is the field point. This is the source point. Taking derivative with respect to field point is very much different from taking derivative with respect to source point. Okay. If you take derivative with respect to source point, you are talking about some property of that source. That is again we shall study in electric fields in matter. Okay. So now. Yeah, so now again first two chapters, so 2 to 3 chapter, up to 3rd chapter, we are talking about derivative with respect to source point only. Is that okay? Only when we talk about polarization and all, we will talk about derivative with respect to, again what did I say? What did I say? Derivative with respect to field point. Is that okay? This is derivative with respect to, write down. Derivatives with respect to field point. Up to 3rd chapter, 2nd and 3rd chapter, we will talk about derivative with respect to field point. Is that okay? We will take field is created by some source. We will not talk about source. Okay? Only in I think 4th chapter. Am I right? In the 4th chapter, we will get into how those are created. We will get into matter. Derivative with respect to field point. Again, along with this one, define this one also. What is this one? X cap dou by dou x prime. I think you don't have to put prime here, okay? Because once you choose origin, that x cap, y cap, z cap will not change, okay? That's your choice here. So now, plus y cap dou by dou y prime plus z cap dou by dou z prime. Derivative with respect to source point. Okay, in chapter 2 and chapter 2 and 3, we will talk about this one. Okay, we will never talk about this one. Yeah, most of the case we talk about derivative with respect to field point by assuming, so fields are created from source somewhere. Okay, so now problem number 1.16, we need to re-edit that one. Okay, 1.16, you have a vector field, but you will get divergence 0 everywhere. Okay, if there is vector field, there should be some source. Am I right? 1.16 means 16th problem. Okay, V is equal to r cap by r square. Wait a second. After we discuss that spherical polar coordinate, you can do it in one single step. Okay. So if you use your Cartesian coordinate, I think those derivative you have to do, isn't it? So what is this one? How do you write this one? Can I write that one as r vector by r cube? Sometimes that's better, isn't it? So that you can write x cap plus y cap plus z cap. Z cap whole divided by root of x square plus y square plus z square. Vx is raised to 3 by 2. Raised to 3 by 2. Raised to 3 by 2. This would be little struggle here. Okay. X square plus y square plus z square raised to 3 by 2. After I define this operator, divergence, gradient, curl, in a different coordinate, because this has a symmetry, am I right? So that's why you can do it quickly. Okay. Now it would be a little struggle to take derivative. This is Vx, Vy, Vz. Am I right? Now you can take the derivative. So, but you can show. Yeah, have you shown? Scalar 0. divergence is 0 everywhere. Okay, there is one small mistake here. I have a vector field, but divergence is 0 everywhere. Any idea? This vector field should have created from some point, am I right? Can you just imagine what kind of vector field is here it is? If you put 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q, there is a vector field due to charge, point charge at the origin. We shall just discuss later, okay, after Coulomb's law, isn't it? If I put charge Q here, what is the electric field at this point? This is the origin. We are putting the plus Q charge at the origin. If you take this point, now this is your radial vector, am I right? So this is your radial vector R. So now this is your field point, am I right? Where you are going to find field. E of R is equal to, let me just discuss, okay, now. So now onwards, just take it as it is, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into R cap, isn't it? Along this direction, R cap direction. There is an electric field due to point charge placed at the origin, isn't it? So now look at here, obviously it is created by the point charge at the origin, am I right? This kind of vector field, that's very physical one, okay. Yesterday somebody asked that question, so can we have a physical example of vector field which has non-zero divergence everywhere? I don't have any example, okay. Yesterday somebody asked question, any physical example of non-zero divergence everywhere, that means source everywhere, isn't it? I said divergence is non-zero whenever you have a source over there, am I right? So now obviously now we got idea, we have no source, isn't it? No source other than the origin, that's why divergence is 0, we got that idea, am I right? But we have a source at the origin that cannot be seen here, isn't it? In this equation, it is saying it is 0 everywhere, it is 0 at 0 also. Now where is the mistake? Isn't it? When you take divergence of this one, it is giving 0 everywhere, am I right? Why that problem comes? It is saying there is no source, am I right? Even at origin. What is the problem? Again, we need to think about a kind of differentiability, isn't it? When you put R equal to 0, that means at the origin, your vector field is infinity. You can't take derivative at 0. Is that okay? We need to edit this one. Later, after I think Gauss theorem, I am going to edit this one. This is not 100% correct. Now just read out his comment and compute the divergence. The answer may surprise you. Can you explain it? That's how he asked. Answer is 0. Am I right? Divergence is 0. So, but this is this kind of vector field is a vector field due to point charge at the origin. I have a source over there at the origin. We should have given non-zero at the origin. Why it failed to give non-zero at the origin? Because you can't take the derivative at the origin because it is infinity, isn't it? A kind of, we say kind of discontinuity, isn't it? It's a kind of discontinuity. When it touches infinity at any point, you can't take derivative over there, okay? So our mathematics fails here to explain that one, what happens at the origin. Is that okay? And we need to edit that one using Gauss theorem later, okay, this equation. That's a kind of Dirac delta. Let me explain. Okay, any question? Yeah, let me explain that one, okay, let me explain. He's asking, this is non-zero, this is 4 phi into Dirac delta, and how we got that one? Mathematics haven't given actually, I mean mathematics only. So by believing Gauss theorem, we are going to edit that one little further, okay. Next one, after line integral, surface integral, I have to define Gauss theorem. So after that Gauss theorem, remember, I can re-edit this one, okay. So that's why at this stage we can't explain. or our mathematics haven't given the proper idea. So why this is so it is wrong. Okay, it is wrong to say it is zero everywhere. Divergence is zero everywhere. If divergence is zero everywhere, there should be no field. Am I right? There should be no source of the field. Yeah. Yeah, let me explain. Okay. So it is there in the book. Okay, you don't have to worry. So, but the problem is everything is interlinked here. So we have to choose from where to start, isn't it? Quickly.
What is the field expressed by a particle from 10 particles?
What is the field on the particle?
On the particle due to that 10 particles.
Again, you can take this one. That is infinity, isn't it?
Then what happens to the field length?
No, any charge, it will not be affected by its own field. Yeah, it is infinity. Magnitude is infinity. At the point of charge, am I right? Obviously, it is infinity because inverse square, isn't it? Inverse square law. When r equal to 0, it is infinity. Am I right? Now, again, if I say there exists field, you will ask next question. Will it be affected by its own field? Isn't it? Yeah, I have to think over it. What is the field? I mean, it will never be affected by its own field, okay? Yeah, it is indeterminate, definitely. Because of that indeterminacy, we got this problem. Is that okay? We got all of this mathematical problem because of that indeterminacy. Electric field is indeterminate, okay, at the point of charge. So, because it is blowing up to infinity, okay? Yeah, we need to re-edit this one, okay? So, now try to explain now. Suppose you don't know anything, try to explain now why it is wrong. Is that okay? Explain now at this stage why it is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because it is saying there is no source, isn't it? Why it is wrong? Because you can't take derivative at r equal to 0 where it is having discontinuity. I am saying discontinuity means it is touching infinity. Is that okay? That's why it is wrong at r equal to 0. It is right at all points other than r equal to 0. Am I right? Other than r equal to 0, you are allowed to take derivative. So that's why now what is the conclusion? Conclusion is del dot v is equal to 0 except at r equal to 0. Isn't it? That's the conclusion. At r equal to 0, we are not allowed to take derivative. So that's why this cannot explain r equal to 0 condition. Is that okay? So try to explain everything within this framework. Okay. So don't go further quickly. So we shall go step by step. Okay. Now. So now curl. So curl of the vector field, again, so we are going to write del cross v, okay, v is the vector field. Obviously in Cartesian coordinate, any vector field, we are going to write it as vx into x cap plus vy into y cap plus vz into z cap. Am I right? Del cross v is equal to, how do you write? X cap, y cap, z cap. Any idea? Dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, vx, vy, vz. I don't have to write, I don't have to expand. Am I right? Whenever we need, we can expand it. Because this is the best way to remember, isn't it? But, yeah, I need expansion, sorry, to interpret something. X cap into dou vz by dou y minus dou vy by dou z minus y cap into dou vz by dou x minus dou vx by dou z. Am I right? Check it out. Plus z cap into dou vy by dou x minus dou vx by dou y, dou vx by dou y, dou vx by dou y. Now, why I have written this one? Because this all contains derivative of one component with respect to other variable. Look at this one, isn't it? If one component of a vector, suppose x component of a vector, it depends on y or z, then there will be curl. There may be curl, okay? It may cancel out sometimes. It may cancel out, okay? Don't take it as a universal rule. So now I better to take one example, okay? Then let me interpret when this will be non-zero. Suppose if I take V is equal to, let me interpret, okay, what is the physical significance little later. V is equal to, look at here, x into x cap, let me take like that. What is the curl? You have to say without solving. What is the curl? What is Vx? X. What is Vy? Vz equal to 0. Am I right? You will never have dou Vx by dou x. You only have dou Vx by dou z, dou Vx by dou y. Obviously, it is 0. Isn't it? So now, this kind of vector field will not have any curl actually. So how do you draw that one? Suppose this is x cap. How did you draw? So again, let me take a like this. Am I right? Along x-axis, your strength of the vector field should increase, isn't it? Now look at here, this kind of vector field don't have any curl. Now what is curl? So now let me just give the statement. Curl is a measure of how much the vector field swirls or curls around a point of interest. This kind of vector field, it is going on increasing in one direction, remember. So we say it has, it don't has any curl. But if I write V is equal to y into x cap, what I have written? X component, but variable is y, isn't it? Variable is y. What do you mean by this one? This is x cap, this is y cap. Okay, I'm very I'm not very sure about drawing this vector field. Okay, very difficult. So along x cap, when you move along x cap, your strength should not change. But vector direction is x cap. Vector direction is x cap, but along y cap you have to increase. How do you do? Can I draw like this? Can I draw like this? Along x-axis vector strength should not change, but along y-axis strength should increase. Can I draw like this? Approximately. Okay, very difficult. Okay, very difficult to draw them, isn't it? When you move along y-axis, it should increase. When you move along x-axis, it should not change for a given y, isn't it? Now I can draw like this. Now this kind of vector field will have a curl actually. Or let me take in this way. Okay, let me take in this way. Suppose I have a fluid which is having this kind of property. I mean, any fluid. Okay. Suppose that vector field. I think velocity fluid. Velocity vector. Am I right? If you take a fluid, your velocity is like this. Suppose velocity of the fluid. So it's like this. Again, it is increasing, but it's very difficult to have that physical situation. Yesterday somebody asked, am I right? Because fluid will have source at only one point. Is that okay? So it's very difficult to have physical situation of all of this vector field. Okay, only bookkeeping. So most of them. So now maybe in fluid dynamics they may have some situation. Okay, So turbulence, what do you mean by turbulence? In turbulence, I think you will have more than, source everywhere, I think. That kind of situation will appear. So turbulence means there will be streamline motion and turbulence, am I right, in the fluid dynamics. In the turbulence, I think you will have divergence everywhere. That's why you may think like it has a source everywhere, okay. Yeah, so very difficult situation, okay. So now look at here. In this one, suppose if you place a ball, you have a streamline flow, and the velocity of that one is increasing. Okay, velocity of that one is increasing. Suppose, let me assume like that. If you place a ball, that ball, it may move forward, am I right? It will not rotate. On that ball, torque will not act. If you have a fluid like this, which is whose velocity vector field have got this kind of property, then that ball will not rotate. Why? Our vector field is not swirling. But if you place it here, you have more velocity above, you have less velocity below, isn't it? So in that case, definitely that ball will rotate and it will move on. Am I right? So curl will act on the ball, isn't it? You can take that idea. This kind of vector field will have a curl, but this kind of vector field will not. So now what is a curl? Curl is a measure of how much vector field swirls or curls around the point in question. Is that okay? So now it may be like this. So it may be exactly this kind of swirl. Okay. Isn't it? So then also it will happen. So here also it will happen. Okay. Now look at here. Can you write couple of sentences? Del cross V is a measure of how much the vector V swirls, SWIRLS, swirls around a point of interest. I think I might have given one more definition for this one. Any idea? Just like we have taken volume density of outward flux. Here I haven't given anything. Just check out in Wikipedia. Okay. But the other interpretation, this is just I said just a measure of what we have done in case of divergence is a measure of how much vector field diverges. Am I right? So similarly, again, so the divergence is also defined as volume density of outward flux. Am I right? So similarly, I think this is also something. This should be also something. Okay. Now this is also one vector field. Am I right? Curly is also a kind of vector. Yeah. Anyway, we shall take after Stokes theorem. Okay. Stokes theorem relates this one to something else. We shall see that one. Yeah. So now we shall just proceed. Do that example number 1.5. And some more problem outside. Okay, calculate curls of the vector function in problem number 15. Okay, just do those two problems. Okay, using this one, using that determinant. Okay, I hope that's not a big deal. So then, what's the time? So we have a lot of other rules here. Okay, look at here. So product rules. So let me just give some of them. We need some of them, okay, in theory. So whenever we need, again we can come back and we can look at that one. Okay, product rules. Can you just list out yourself all of these product rule? I'll go to second derivative. Okay. So product rule. Okay, he will talk about product rule. I'll go for second derivative. It's the best idea. So these are very simple. Gradient of, so sum of two scalar is equal to gradient of f plus gradient of g, like that. Okay, this kind of rules. So obviously all of these are derivative operator, they are linear operators. Isn't it? Derivative operators are linear operators. That's why if you have any addition of two, suppose if you have addition of two vector function, del dot a plus b, am I right? You can write as del dot a plus del dot b. Del dot a plus del dot b. Similarly, del cross a plus b is equal to del cross a plus del cross b. Is that okay? Wait a second. Similarly, if you have any constant, you can take that constant outside, that kind of rule. Just list out them. Whenever I need, I'll come and grab these things. Okay? Because anyhow, you can't remember all of those rules. And again, you can derive it out also in the exam hall. But in some theory, I need that one. Okay? I don't remember which one of these. I think this one, del dot a cross b. Del dot a cross b. Am I right? That's our your electric field and magnetic field cross product. That is Poynting vector, isn't it? Yeah, we need this one in future. That's equal to b dot del cross a, b dot del cross a minus or plus, minus a dot del cross b, minus a dot del cross b, minus a dot del cross b. B dot del cross a minus a dot del cross b. Yeah, third one is also needed. Yeah, somewhere, isn't it? Del dot f into a. Del dot scalar into vector. I mean variable. Okay, if it were constant, you can take it out. Okay, no need to worry. So it will act like a derivative. Okay, so that is equal to this is a kind of u into v formula. Kind of. Again, ultimately it should be scalar, isn't it? So f into del dot a, f into del dot a. So plus a dot del f. Am I right? Should be scalar. Right hand side should be scalar. Be careful. F is a scalar function. Okay. A is a vector field. So multiplication of scalar function and vector field. Yeah, we need this one. Okay, to solve some problem also. Yeah. I think that's sufficient. Am I right? Yeah. Whenever we need, again we can come back. Now try further problem. Okay, as much as possible. Let me go for second derivatives here. Just note down these two. Okay, we need this. Yeah. Huh. No, wait a second. Yeah. Here, field may start from here. Yeah, because if you take divergence, you will get non-zero. Am I right? Divergence non-zero means you have a source, and divergence is non-zero everywhere. Divergence is equal to constant. No, I mean charges will never give this kind of field. curling. Are you talking about that one? No. Let me show that one further. Okay. I mean, whatever the thinking about electric field charges, just hold on. Okay. Again, I'm just discussing mathematics. Hold on that one. So you feel like it feels like it will curl, but net electric field will never curl. Is it okay? It will never curl. At any point, if you take curl of that one, it will be 0. Even when we write electric field due to dipole, we feel like that electric field due to dipole, its approximated field, feel like it has a curl. Actually, I had that question, how electric field can have curl? Electrostatic field, okay? But later I got that that's the approximated one. The total electric field will never curl. Electrostatic field again, okay? Electrostatic field, okay? Yeah, we shall discuss. So if you have any question about charge, just you have to wait for one more class. Second derivatives. So second derivatives. So you have a gradient, am I right? You have a gradient. Gradient is a vector. Am I right? Gradient is a vector. Now two things can happen with a vector, isn't it? What is that one? I mean, in all these three, again, in the context of gradient, divergence and curl. If I have a vector, I can have a divergence of a vector. If I have a vector, I can have a curl of it. Alright, we call this known as divergence of gradient of t. We call it known as curl of gradient of t. So this one is a Laplacian, alright? We call this one as Laplacian. Again, you can just prove this one, okay? This will contain x cap, y cap, z cap. Again, it will contain x cap, y cap, z cap. Okay, dou square by dou x square, dou square by dou y square will happen. We are going to call it as del square of t, Laplacian. Okay, where del square is defined as in Cartesian coordinate. Del square is equal to dou square by dou x square plus dou square by dou y square plus dou square by dou z square. Try to prove this one. Okay, try to prove this one. Again, I am not going to prove other one. Okay, again too lengthy. So I am going to take it as it is. Actually, this will be null vector. Curl of gradient is always 0. Remember, you can prove that one. Okay, so take gradient again, take curl. It's a lengthy procedure again, isn't it? So gradient of t, you have to take each component, and again you have to take derivative. You will have a relation of those second derivatives. You can cancel it out and you can show. So curl of gradient is always 0. Now look at here, for any scalar t, look at here, for any scalar t, gradient of curl is always 0. I need this idea later. Okay, for any scalar field, for any scalar variable t, curl of gradient is always 0. Obviously, this is not 0. Okay, it all depends. Okay, so it all depends. This is not 0. This we call this one as Laplacian. That's one part. Other part is this is always true. Okay, this is always true. So that's why what we do in future is we will get curl of electric field 0, because electric field you can define it by Coulomb's law, isn't it? Using a kind of Coulomb's law. Then what we think here is, yeah, curl of this one is 0, then this should be written as gradient of some scalar, isn't it? So because curl of gradient of scalar is 0. Is that okay? That's the idea. Is that okay? So that is the potential formalism, how it develops. Is that okay? So whatever the vector field, if its curl vanishes, that vector field should be able to return as gradient of some other scalar. Is that okay? Yeah, we shall take that idea later. Now next one is, let me take for any vector field V. Okay, for any vector field V, one thing is I mean, two things can happen with the vector field. One is divergence, am I right? Okay. When you have a divergence, that's a scalar. And curl. Curl. When you have a curl, that's a vector. Now, when you have a vector, you can take dot product. When you have a vector, you can take cross product. When you have a scalar, you can take only gradient. Can I write like this? Very difficult to write, isn't it? Del dot V, okay, del dot V. Now gradient of divergence. We have to call it as gradient of divergence. Divergence is a scalar, gradient of a scalar. That's again a vector, okay. So divergence of a curl, curl of a curl. Is that okay? I have started with scalar. Scalar, you can take gradient, am I right? Again, gradient is a vector, you can have two things with that one. So I have a vector field, you can have divergence as well as curl with a vector field. So once you have a divergence, that's a scalar, you can take, I mean all possibility, we have taken all possibility here, remember, gradient. I have a vector, so for that vector, I can have a divergence and a curl, okay. Look at here. So this is always 0. What about this one? Del of del dot V. You haven't taken this one. Del of del dot V. It will not occur frequently. That's what he is saying. Okay. This will not occur very frequently. He mentioned. Okay. No need to worry about that. Let me just skip this one. This is secondary. I mean, I have taken all possibility. I have taken all possibility. Let me just rub it out because it will not occur frequently. Now, let me write this one in the top. What is this one? Divergence of a curl of a vector field is 0, scalar 0. I should not write bold letter, scalar 0. Divergence is a scalar. Am I right? So, now look at here. Whenever we have any vector field whose divergence is 0, suppose let me take magnetic field. Magnetic field divergence is 0. Okay, whether static or dynamic case, divergence is always 0. Okay. So now, what we are going to write? We are going to try to write B as some del cross something, isn't it? If divergence of a vector field is 0, that vector field should be, we should be able to write that vector field in terms of curl of some other vector field. So that is the idea about vector potential. Is that okay? So that's why, so you need clear understanding of this vector calculus. Is that okay? So these are very frequently used, okay, these two. Now look at here, del cross, we need this one, okay, somewhere. Yeah, not somewhere, I think in the Maxwell equation, isn't it? That is del of del dot V. Yeah, we got that one. Look at here. What is that one? Gradient of divergence. Am I right? So minus del square of vector field. Now look at here. I got one more. I have defined del square of scalar field. Now here I got del square of vector field. What do you mean by del square of vector field? Isn't it? So del square of scalar is nothing but dou square t by dou x square plus dou square t by dou y square plus dou square t by dou z square. Is that okay? Now del square of a vector field, that's equal to del square Vx x cap plus del square Vy y cap plus del square Vz z cap. Is that okay? Obviously, if you treat that one as operator, you can operate on individual, what you call, components. Obviously, x cap, y cap, z cap are constants, isn't it? They are constant unit vectors. So that's the meaning of this one, isn't it? Here the confusion comes. Now we can do 1.26. Calculate Laplacian of the following vector. I'm going to use these two very frequently. These two very frequently later. Yeah, we have to take a break.